Well, the modern-day Bonnie and Clyde, on whom we've been reporting for some time now, reached the end of their travels over the weekend. The 18-year-old man accused of going on a multi-state crime spree with his 13-year-old girlfriend told a judge in Florida today he'll return to Kentucky to face charges. Police say they arrested the teens yesterday in the Florida panhandle town of Panama City Beach after cops there found them sleeping in a stolen truck. The teens disappeared from their homes in Grayson County, Kentucky more than 2 weeks ago. Cops say they believe the boyfriend and girlfriend made stops in South Carolina and Georgia, stealing trucks and writing bad checks. The sheriff says the teens could now face charges in multiple states.
They were forging checks in each of these states, and I just don't think they realize when they forge a check in another state, they get charged in that state. So they could possibly be facing charges in 4 different states.
And he says the boyfriend could also face charges of custodial interfering for taking the young girl away from her family. Again, she was 13. The girl facing charges of her own in juvenile court. Criminal defense attorney Anna Yum joins us now and is live with us. Children should not do such things. I mean, you shouldn't steal cars and write bad checks and run away from mommy when you're 13 years old. But in the grand scheme of things, I mean, how much trouble could these two really be in? Nobody got hurt here.
That's right, Shep. And in fact, the defense attorneys are likely going to make that argument. Look, these are lower level felonies that we're talking about. No one got injured, no one got hurt, no cops got shot at. So the defense attorney is really going to be looking at mitigating factors as to how serious were these crimes. Now, on the flip side, the prosecution, of course, is going to argue that Dalton Hayes, the 18-year-old, took the 13-year-old and that his criminal behavior was escalating from going on a multi-state crime spree of burglarizing houses, taking cars, and all of those things are really going to rise to the level of we need to make an example out of him. So it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out.
And there's been some question about whether he knew how old she was at the time. If he did know that he's dealing with a 13-year-old child here, does that complicate matters for him?
It could. Well, this is the thing. In most jurisdictions, in most states, you don't have the mistake of age defense. But in the state of Kentucky, Shep, you do. So he could technically argue, well, I didn't know that she was 13. I thought she was 19. And that's really going to be dependent upon what she says, what he says, how they met, and all those different factors in terms of figuring out the totality of those circumstances.
They call each other boyfriend and girlfriend. If he had some sort of sexual relations with her, there's another set of problems, isn't there?
Absolutely right. He could be potentially looking at statutory rape. So instead of just looking at these lower level felonies of theft-related crimes, he could be looking at statutory rape if they did in fact have sexual relations. And if he's looking at statutory rape, Shep, then he's looking at a possible lifetime registration as a sexual offender. So he's looking at a whole slew of problems in adult court where she's going to be looking at juvenile court where it's about rehabilitation as opposed to punishment. This
case got a lot of attention. Are you surprised at all that they found him in a truck in Panama City Beach there hanging out, that it took this long?
I'm absolutely surprised. I was thinking about that. It took 2 weeks, and that's really scary to think that he's 18 and she's only 13 years old. So if you think about all the different states that they were in, technically, these other states have jurisdiction over him. But because Dalton Hayes waived extradition, I have a feeling this is going to be settled in the state of Kentucky.
Yeah, that probably makes sense. Anna Yum, it's nice to see you. Thank you.
Nice to see you, Shep.